The following is a presentation of TFNN. Live at TFNN, the Power Trading Hour, with your host, David White. Now, the author of The Path of Least Resistance and the Tech Insider, David White.
And welcome to another beautiful and gorgeous day at the headquarters of Technical Trading and Investing. That's TFNN.com here in the lovely hamlet of Clearwater, Florida. I tell you what, it's just kind of amazing how you can have kind of a good day. Just a little traffic kind of throws a monkey wrench into everything you're doing. But you always think, why is there traffic today? Why is this always backed up in here? And why did I not take the other turn off? But I got here in time, so yeah, but I'm always a little bit tense from being, thinking I'm going to be late. But seem to always make it. Seems to always work out. Guess I shouldn't let all that stuff build up inside of me. So what are we looking at here today? Of course, everybody's watching this market like a hawk. Just checked it not too long ago. Let me update it here just to make sure. 1.4 billion shares, so we are fairly light in that department. Down 9 points on the S&P cash, 1409.32. A close below 1408 would be a fairly significant endeavor for the market. I suspect that this is kind of the burnt, what do they call it, burnt, when the Russians burnt everything and made sure, poisoned the wells and everything, burnt earth, scorched earth. That's what they called it, the scorched earth policy, basically leaving absolutely nothing. If there was a building that they could sleep in, you burnt it down as you continued moving back towards Stalingrad. But they certainly are trying to keep this market up. I've seen some heavy action a couple of times in the S&P where they've tried to push this market a little higher. It's resisted. I think we got back up to 1416 or so on the cash, and it may even gone a little higher. But pretty close to that, 1416, 1417, back at 1409. Again, very light volume, but there's a lot of things out there. We're going to go back through them today that you should be very wary of. I would either be in cash or be short. There's always the possibility, albeit so small that I am short, that they're going to make some kind of deal. But my guess is that at the moment, the president really doesn't want to make a deal. I don't think he's wanted to, and in my newsletter I've said that pretty much it was a 95% chance back on December 1st that we were going to hit the fiscal cliff, and I haven't changed that other than the fact it's now 99.9%. Even if they had a bill ready to go right now, they'd have to let it sit and be examined for 3 days. I don't know if they can actually void that policy, but I think it's part of the rules. Maybe if they had a unanimous consent, maybe they could void that, but I don't know what the rules are in the Congress. But there's a similar thing in the Senate, so there's nothing going to happen before Monday night. And I guess we've got a meeting with the president, and that's going to be at 3 o'clock. So we're about 15 minutes away from that happening. I can't imagine that anything or any news is going to leak out before the market closes unless it's propaganda. I don't think anything real is going to happen in 1 hour that hasn't happened in the last 45 days of discussions. Everybody's talking about a little smaller deal, kick the can down the road. But the problem is that everybody has thought that the president had the upper hand, and I suspect that that's not true. The one thing that no one's really talked about much is there's two parts. One, there's the debt ceiling limit, and if there is not a deal for spending reduction, I don't think that the House Tea Party members are going to let anything through and let that vote go through for upping the borrowing limit. We're already at $16-17 trillion. A trillion here, a trillion there. Soon you're talking real money. But I suspect we're going to hit that, and the Tea Party Republicans are going to probably keep that in their back pocket until they get some kind of deal, and not the phony crapola that is passing for spending cuts. Basically, nebulous things 4 years down the line. That's not going to happen. The spending cuts are going to happen this year, and it's going to come one way or the other. It's either going to come in a budget deal here, or it's going to come with them not willing to up the limit more than a tiny bit, and maybe they're just going to have to throttle a overzealous spending Congress and President, I guess. They all in the soup together. So what are we looking at here? Our wonderful picture of Thelma and Louise going off the cliff into the what is that? The big gulch out there in the southwest. Want to talk a little bit more about just the perfect storm. Any one of these things could have a lot of impact. I've talked about all these a little bit. I saw one more news article that went across the wires and then quickly came back. They didn't retract it, but they didn't keep it running. And I continue to think maybe there's something else going on. But to our list of things that could blow up in our faces overnight over the next few days, the ones we already have on our plate is the whole Iran-Israel nuclear weapons deal, and whether or not they're going to blow up their nuclear facilities. Port closings, we're probably going to see that announcement over the weekend, but I think they go on strike the 31st. River closings, that's next Wednesday. So everything up the Mississippi, the Ohio, the Mississippi, a lot of those rivers are all set for closing. If you know or have ever been up the Mississippi, at the very bottom of right-hand corner of Missouri, and it kind of meets with Kentucky and Arkansas and everything down there. It's a little place called Cape Girardeau and Cairo, and the water is very, very shallow there. They're filling some of the barges already half full to try to get it through that low spot in the river, but it looks like by Wednesday they'll probably have to cut it down unless there's some ginormous melt off of this snow, which would probably still mean that they could only put half of what they want to in each barge and still have it move up. So anyway, we are looking at that. We've got debt limits. I saw this article about China stocks being delisted. Again, we talked about this a few weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, and the threat was that if they didn't provide the documents by December 31st, that the SEC was going to have those China stocks delisted. And these are the biggest stocks on the Chinese stock market, but in here there's stocks like Baidu, what was it, QIHU 360 or something, a bunch of other stocks, and those the Chinese government's basically putting their foot down and saying we're not going to give it to you. The reasons they're saying is it would give too much of a benefit to U.S. stocks to have to supply all this data. Well, the U.S. stocks already have to supply that data, so actually the China stocks have a little bit so far a little bit better better footing on that. But the big four accounting firms are probably going to be held liable, and I'd be watching those stocks too. But if they don't supply the data by December 31st, we're going to see a whole lot of China stocks leave the U.S. stock market. If I was holding these stocks and had a profit, I would not be touching these things again. And maybe they supply the stuff and they temporarily go up, but you only have to wait a day to find out, and then much better plays out there. If you see Monday that they continue to not supply that data, it'd be a good thing to watch. HP filed a 10-K with the SEC yesterday, I think after the close, disclosed the U.S. Department of Justice notified the company it was investigating the autonomy matters. They wrote off $5 billion on that 10-K. Could write off another $4 billion on it. The CEO of Autonomy, before they bought it, was running around saying it's all a bunch of hot air. I suspect that he's going to jail. He came out and said a lot of things that any decent lawyer would tell you to shut up about. He's been off running his mouth, I think, because he knows that he's going to get fried. That a lot of this stuff is not going to pass the smell test. They put a lot of goodwill on the books I think even the internal people at Autonomy say was bogus, and they're probably going to most likely say that in court, and that'll probably be the end of the Autonomy CEO and all the money he cashed out on that thing. I'm looking for him to go to jail, mostly because he's got laws on two sides of the ocean that can come after him, because it is a British, or was a British company at that time. But HP, what can you say? Not doing so hot. I want to check back in this market real quick because it is going to be important how this thing closes. 1409, fairly much even at 2:17 Eastern Time. 1.4 billion shares, so we're not having a lot. Probably why we're having problems breaking through that 1408. Close below 1408 gets you to 1390. Close below 1390 gets you to 1370. A close below 1370 would probably break you down to something like 1280. So we could see a very quick 1 or 2 days that would confirm a lot of downside to this market. Like I said, I'd either be totally out of the market or I'd be short here. But I think, you get a bounce. Could you get 20 points? I think even if we get the deal, we're going to get a little bounce out of there, and it's going to be a sell the news thing. I think people will not be able to sell their stocks fast enough when we get some kind of crappy, half-assed deal with this process where no one can take responsibility for anything. So we'll have to see that happens. You can always give me a call at 877-927-6648. That's 877-927-6648. We'd be glad to take your phone call. I was just going to see if there was anything moving. The only thing I really saw today that was interesting was Facebook was down. Let's see what they're printing off now here. It was down to 25.15, printing off about 25.87. A little bit of business that 25% of the Instagram people had gone and closed their account. Basically, the Instagram, Facebook people denied it, and it's down just about 18 cents now, so no big deal, but was down fairly strongly, still off 0.7% already. So we'll be watching some of these stocks and going through some others. Before the end of the show today, we will be going through a lot of stocks, and those stocks get more than 50% of their money from the government. So if you want to know some stocks to trade Monday and possibly Wednesday next week, we're going to be going through those and looking at the charts and seeing which ones might be some good plays on a fiscal cliff. Maybe just one-day, intraday trades or something. But we'll be looking at the stocks that probably would be most greatly affected when we come back.
What type of investor are you? Conservative, moderate, or aggressive? No matter your investor personality, your overall portfolio should reflect your financial goals, time horizon, and your risk tolerance. Help ensure your portfolio is appropriately invested with an asset allocation plan from Morgan Stanley Wealth Management. Simply picking the right stocks is not enough. Research has shown that choosing the right proportions of stocks, bonds, and cash is essential to the success of your long-term investments. Morgan Stanley believes a carefully selected portfolio can lower volatility and increase investment return potential. Find out about what an asset allocation and a Morgan Stanley Wealth Management financial advisor can do for you. Call Angela O'Brien, First Vice President and Financial Planner of the Clearwater, Florida branch at 727-441-6108 today to discuss your personal financial needs. Asset allocation does not assure a profit or protect against loss in declining financial markets. Investments and services are offered through Morgan Stanley Wealth Management, LLC. Member SIPC.
with the launch of Tiger TV. TFNN has brought our programming to the next level. With Tiger TV, you can gain access to each host's charts and computer screens as they host their daily stock program. Whether it's Tom O'Brien, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Ken Shreve, David White, Larry Pesavento, Victor Jones, or Terrell Martin, you can catch all of our technicians hosting their programs live and archived on Tiger TV for your viewing pleasure 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you haven't checked out Tiger TV, then visit TFNN.com and see what you're missing.
You take a hands-on approach to managing your investment strategy. You're always looking for the next trading opportunity to magnify your perspective. Direxion Shares connects sophisticated traders with a powerful array of ETFs from a wide range of asset classes. The markets may go up and down, and you want tools for both sides of the trade. Discover how we can help at DirexionShares.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direxion Shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direxion Shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direxion Shares at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors employing dynamic strategies. Investors in the fund should understand the consequences of seeking daily investment results, understand the risk of shorting, and intend to actively monitor and manage their investments. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen, live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den, absolutely free, for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
Millionaires are made every day. The fact is, living your dreams is possible. Someone, somewhere is going to get rich. My recommendation is, let that be you. Each day, someone is making the decision to better themselves and creating a plan to fulfill their financial dreams. Let that be you. The key to turning dreams into reality is to take massive action. Let that be you. I'm Steve Rhodes, co-host of the Money Master Show with Tom O'Brien, seen daily at TFNN, and I can help you with your journey to great wealth. I'll show you how to create the ultimate financial edge, a set of tools, insights, and strategies that are part of my daily newsletter service, Mastering Probability. You'll have direct access to me by phone, email, and my private library of trading and investing secrets for 30 days with an unconditional money-back guarantee. I'll take your trading to the next level. Click on my name, Steve Rhodes, on the homepage of TFNN.com and turn your dreams into reality. Mastering Probability, folks. Let that be you.
This segment is brought to you by Goldfields. For more information, just click the Goldfields banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
As we come back, again, you can give me a call at 877-927-6648. Getting ready for a new year. Ended up doing a lengthy Tech Insider column today. Did a lot of projections for what I think is happening next year. Maybe we'll talk about them if we have a little bit more time for the end of the day, or maybe in our Tech Insider portion of the Tom O'Brien Show tonight. But just watching this market closely, because we are right at where this thing should probably be support, which is 1408 on the S&P cash. Still looking, we're off 8 points, 1.4 billion shares. So a light volume move down today, and we'll watch how this market comes out. Just looking to see if anything else was really moving. Saw, maybe a little bit of movement. Garmin, G-R-M-N, is it MN? Yeah, MN. And take a look at that. That's the biggest loser right now in the NASDAQ 100. And again, this one's, when you look at it, kind of funky out here. It had a nice big day that didn't do much out here with about 24 million shares on the 11th of December. But it came back, it filled a little gap up. It's been kind of come back in there. I always thought that we were looking at a market in this that would be declining over time. in all these GPS. Since the GPS is in everybody's phone now, maps and all the stuff, Garmin, they've got a lot of licenses and stuff like that. But it seems to me like they really don't have the definitive product out there. They did real well while a lot of maps and charts for both aviation and marine use had been moved to things like iPads. So there was kind of a huge bounce there. Still an ongoing business, but you're probably not going to be selling a lot more of those in that business. Most of the people that were going to switch already had. Other stocks out there, Green Mountain Coffee Roasters, perennial mover out here, off 2%. And Flexera, off almost 2%. But not a whole lot of big movers out there. When you look at the upside, about the same thing, except the best stocks are up a little less than about 1%. Shield Holdings, Ross Stores, Autodesk, Apollo. I'm going to call them the usual suspects. Highly short stocks and on light volume. Most of these dead stocks have a tendency to move counter to the market in light volume, where a lot of people are pushing shorts out of the market. If you're stuck in one of these miserable stocks like Apollo, you do a lot of work to work your way out of them before they totally go bankrupt. But what do we got? RIM up here, up 0.25%, no big deal. But all these stocks, everybody knows they're going out of business. But they can put a tourniquet on the wound out there and let themselves bleed out for a long time. RIM, I think that they're pretty much done for, and everybody knows it. It's just as long as they can continue to keep the bleeding down to a minimum, that's pretty much what they're looking for. And maybe they'll find somebody to buy out what they have. But there's not really a lot there as far as I can see. Not a lot of other companies moving out here. Anyway, I wanted to go through some stocks before we finished up today, and those were stocks that get more than 50%, and some of these actually get 100% of their income from the government. Any kind of cutback, any kind of problem with the debt ceiling, and other issues out there, you would probably see these 45 stocks or 44 stocks, whatever they are. We're going to try to get through them as quickly as we can so you know which ones they are. I've got a full list in my newsletter today, the daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, and you can get that. Put charts in there, the ones that I thought were the best. AFFX, which is Affymetrix. This one has already been a stinker. Looks like it's going down to probably $2.95. Probably not a big chance of shorting this thing. I would hope your broker would not let you short it. One's kind of look a little bit more like they've topped out. Might get one more test of the top before these things break is Alliant Technical Systems, ATK. This thing's up and over a previous high the last few days. It's come back done. It was a false breakout. You had more volume. It couldn't hold that high. Pretty good sign that there's better shorts out there, but also a sign that you probably ran the last of the shorts. We'll be back in just a few minutes. You can give me a call at 877-927-6648. That's 877-927-6648. I would love to have your phone call today. And so would our little beret-wearing engineer. He needs something to do in there.
You've heard Tom O'Brien on the air, and you've seen him on Tiger TV, as well as being featured as a regular CNBC guest and contributor, and now you can have access to his expert trading advice each morning through his daily trading newsletter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, gives traders, investors, and money managers a thorough strategy for trading stocks, options, and indices every market day. Market Insights comes out each market day before 9:30 a.m. and provides traders with Tom's daily commentary, opinion, and specific trade recommendations on the markets. Using advanced Fibonacci methods, volume indicators, Gartley patterns, candlestick charting, gaps, and market timing, Market Insights will give you specific trade recommendations including entry, stop, and exit prices. The summer is over and traders are back. Get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. If you're an investor looking for a great weekly investment newsletter, then now is the perfect time to try out Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks. Every Tuesday, Ken breaks down multiple sectors in his weekly newsletter, Ultimate Growth Stocks, with a full in-depth report including specific trading recommendations within his model portfolio, charts, sector analysis, upcoming economic data, along with intra-week trading updates on newsletter positions whenever the market dictates. Right now, you can receive a full month, that's 30 days, to evaluate Ken's newsletter free of charge to see if it fits your trading plan. At less than $75 per month, Ken provides you with his expert trading advice that can pay for itself in no time. Take advantage of this great offer by signing up for a 30-day free trial to Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks today. Don't let this offer pass you by. Visit the front page of TFNN.com and sign up now. Daryl Martin coined the phrase diagnostic trading, and we're happy to announce that his diagnostic box spread analyzer has finally been released. The Diagnostic Box Spread Analyzer helps you easily identify the best box spreads on Nadex in seconds, plus you receive access to the diagnostic deviation levels, as well as step-by-step training videos teaching you how to trade Nadex spreads so you can quickly master the mechanics of this simple yet powerful trading instrument. By pulling live data from the Nadex exchange, the Diagnostic Box Spread Analyzer does all the math for you, calculating risk, reward potential, distance to break even for both outright spreads and spreads used to hedge the underlying market. Visit the front page of TFNN.com today to get your 2-week free trial to Daryl Martin's Diagnostic Box Spread Analyzer and gain access to the valuable information it can provide when trading the Nadex box spreads. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Crocodile Gold. For more information, just click the Crocodile Gold banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And we're back. Of course, we had numbers today for crude, natural gas because of the vacation days. So we've had a little action out there. Probably the closest spread between Brent and West Texas in 3 months today. So that was kind of interesting. Numbers basically showed there wasn't such a big drawdown as people were looking for. Natural gas, there was a little... I'll have to maybe catch those during the next break. But I think that it was a decent drawdown. Had a nice nickel move out here, about 2% on UNG. So not a bad little day out here, but still in that $19, $19.50 range in UNG. You're going to need about 4 weeks of that. This is the second week of a good response to the drawdown numbers. Again, there's just a limited amount of supply storage for natural gas. They're pretty much full everywhere out here, and it's going to take a nice, very cold couple of weeks to get everybody start working on that oversupply. Since we had such a mild fall, first couple of weeks of winter out here. So anyway, we're going to look at some of these stocks that are continuing to have most of their money from the government, because you're probably going to watch some of these. It had AeroVironment. This one actually is a nice little kind of bullish chart. Took off with a lot of volume on the 5th of December here. 1.5 million shares. It's come back, tried to fill this gap, had a little bit more volume. Might get back down into about 21 bucks. Not a huge trade out there, but maybe you can get 10% out of it. Baxter International. This one looks like couldn't even get back up very far into the previous highs that we had, and tried to get back into a candle for the high, which was on November 23rd, that saw the high at $68.91. Got into that candle fairly decently with higher volume, but another one that's pulled back, and probably going to get a close under that candle yet again today. We're going to kind of zoom through these because there's a lot of them. Did I get this one right? Fiscal Cliff, yeah. Beckson Dixon Company. Another one, kind of similar pattern out here. Beckinson Dickinson, BDX is that. You had a nice high. This one, basically came in with about 300,000 shares to the previous high on September 25th. $79.68, 1.3 million shares. Got 1.6, got into that candle, started to sell off like a lot of these when you start looking at a lot of the patterns out here. BSX, Boston Scientific, probably not a great short candidate, but another one that, you had higher volume as you tried to get into these previous candles, but they have all started to slide off and back down, at least today. Lighter volume out here, but probably dependent, like most of these stocks out here, on a fiscal cliff deal. One that kind of looks like you might even get some kind of ABC up until you start looking at it a little closer. Centene Corporation, CNC is the symbol. This thing came down on heavy volume on the 14th, and it's been moving lower. Probably most of the downside in that one's over, but it's going to make it get back up to 43 or so, before you could pull a short on it. So maybe that's one you would watch for a bounce to get short on. Covinian, COV is the symbol on it. This thing tried to get back into a gap, got fairly close on December 12th, has rolled over. Not a real good indication in a lot of these charts. I think all this fiscal cliff deal has pretty much worked its way into a lot of these. We've got Davida, DVA is another one. Again, all these stocks have at least 50%. Some of them 100% their checks come from those green checks from the government. This thing made a high on November 6th, been working down, it looks like an ABC. Kind of a high flyer out here. I want to go ahead and do an expansion on this thing and see, what is it, 119. Let's do a little shorter out here. Maybe we can find it. 96. Let's see how this thing would work out for an ABC. Down here, B, and that would be our C point. So you had a little bit bigger retrace than you normally like, but this thing could come down to right about $100. $100.75 on a 1-to-1 ABC, which would basically be back to support. So not a bad looking chart out here if this thing did crack. DVA is a symbol on this thing, and you had kind of about the same energy up as you've had down, and this thing is kind of setting up for at least a test of 104 and maybe about $100 for on 1-to-1 ABC, but not huge money in this thing. We're going to look at some others here. Edwards Life Sciences, this got beat like a redheaded stepchild. It's tried to come back and fill its gap here for a little bit. This would be one that probably is one of the weaker stocks. A lot of the froth is already off this one, but had a little gap up and a little bit more energy. but you're really beating against an 8.8 million share day down on the 9th of October. And this thing has tried to come back and fill a little bit of that gap, but hadn't done much. Looks like this thing, if we got bad news, it'd probably race down to about 81.29. FLIR, which actually had some news today. This is a forward-looking infrared radar. You see this on the cop shows where they're looking, flying around the neighborhood and see the guy. He's kind of bright white because it looks at heat, not actual video signals. This one actually is up here with light volume. Be very interesting, but making a nice little doji out here for us today. General Dynamics, I probably would think that these guys have enough in contracts that it's not going to matter. Another high volume high compared to the previous high, but it closed back underneath it. So a lot of these people are pushing these stocks fairly hard. So anyway, what else do we have going on out here? Granite Constructions, GVA. So what do we got going on? A lot of government construction, that kind of stuff. Let's get a little longer high. This thing probably would come back, and maybe one of the ones, if we get some really bad news, might be bought for around that $30 level. Looks like there's a lot of support out here. It broke out and did have some volume. It had some decent volume, let me put it that way. But even if we were in a bullish market here, you'd want it to get it back into that $30 range to take a look. But might be one of the one out here if there is a deal. It doesn't look too bad. Hunting Industries, HNT, HealthNet, HRS, Harris Corporation. Company that bought my company. Harris HRS. And when we look at this, kind of just doing a little bit of sideways action. They do a huge amount of work for the military on radar, satellites, a lot of that kind of stuff. They bought Scientific Atlanta. They bought my little company, in 2000, was it 2002? Yeah. Anyway, they are kind of just moving sideways out here. But I would think there were better fish to fry out here. Spira, this is one that's been smacked around. It looks like it could be making a nice ABC down here. Let's see if we've got the more conservative move. Yep, that's the one I'm looking for. If you look at the last high at September 1935.43, this thing kind of setting up a nice ABC down. It's already started to move down. A 1-to-1 would take you to $25, and you're at $31. Not a bad setup in that one. HUM, which is Humana Healthcare, another one out here that going sideways. Probably better ones in here. Illumina, this one's up here at the top, and it's had some decent volume, popped up with some decent volume. But a nice little doji out here, one of the stronger ones out here. You might be able to get this one in a breakout if good news does come out. But I have to take a look at that. Let's see if I got something going on here. L3 Communications, another one of these high flyers. Again, higher volume on the high, which suggests you're going to test around that $78 level one more time. A lot of these stocks, I think they ended up running a lot of these shorts out as it got back to these highs, but that they pulled right back in was not a sign of strength. In fact, kind of a fake out here. Medtronic, another one of these companies that does a lot of business in the healthcare sector that might not get these green checks. It's got a big, strong enough volume low back on June 4th, $35.67. So this thing could move fairly decently. It's trading around 41 now. Other stocks that would be interesting. Again, If you just tuned in, these are stocks that get anywhere from 50 to 100% of their money directly from the government. So these are probably going to be the stocks that are moving strongly on Monday and or Wednesday, depending on how things work over the last few days. Molina Healthcare, another one. This one over a longer period had a huge volume day down. It's been banging against this gap for a while. It failed on December 13th. Been moving down a little bit. Not a huge move down, but enough. About $4 off, $3.50 off a high out here. But it's got two major gaps down below. MOH is a symbol on that. Again, you can give me a call at 877-927-6648, or you can post a question in the den if you would like. But got a lot of these. Motorola Solutions, another one of these. It seems a lot of that money from Homeland Security is all going to radio and infrastructures, so everybody can talk to everybody if the big one hits. And when we look at Motorola Solutions, of course, spin-off from Motorola, MSI is a symbol on this. Been kind of moving sideways out here, but let's see if I can get a little longer chart on this thing. It's not a real gap out here, but I guess split adjusted it is. I'll probably look elsewhere. That one actually looks Northrop Grumman. I think these bigger companies have contracts that pretty much are airtight for at least a few years. Omnicare, another one of these that's up here at these highs and fairly close. This one did make a nice test on lighter volume, which is a little different than most of these stocks. You had your previous high on April 3rd with 5 million shares, $36.48. You got above that. It did close below it. We're up against those highs yet again. Not a lot of volume, of course, like most stocks, but it did test it with 2.6, so you've already had the signal. It's already pulled back a little bit. It's tried one more time on a few days to go higher. Let me zoom in here. So, yeah, I mean, you had some decent volume up on the 29th of November. But 2.5 million shares, not all that exciting, and it's gone fairly much sideways since then. So we'll look at other ones here. Let's see. Now, the one I kind of like out here, short, if we get some horrible news, faded off a little bit more today. So might try to see if you can get any kind of bounce to get into this thing. RSG, Republic Services, this thing came down on monstrous volume on the 27th of, April out here on almost 16 million shares. Been trying to fill that gap for a while. It got back up to $29.97 on December 19th on 2.1 million shares. So you're going into 2.1 million shares against 16 million shares. Not a bad looking one. Republic Services, what is their profile out here? Brian, non-hazardous waste collection. In fact, I saw a lot of these companies in the waste collection business that look kind of iffy out here. So I'm going to continue to see whether or not we can get these things moving out here. Let's see. I need to check the markets again real quick here and see where we're going. See if anything's happening. Still 1409. So we're sitting on the bottom of support on the S&P cash. But I think we got enough time to bring in a few more of these stocks. Raytheon, I'm probably another one of these with a lot of defense contracts. Another higher volume high. Last time. So could you see that high tested one more time? The answer is yes, but almost all these went with higher volume. Seem to run a lot of these companies up on short squeezes, and as soon as they ran them and ran through the stops, companies turned around the other way. We have a caller, and it's Dan from Miami. And what do you want to look at today, Dan?
I want to look at General Electric daily and weekly. Obviously, the market's weak. What do you think?
Like I said, I just can't. You already long this?
Not really.
I can't see why you want to go long it or something?
At a later date, possibly.
Okay. I was going to say, I can't see putting a lot of risk on right now. You want to hang on through the break?
Sure.
Okay. We'll be right back with Dan from Miami. We'll look through a few more of these stocks, too, in the next segment here. So just hang on out there. You can be like Dan and give me a call, 877-927-6648, before the end of the show. We'll be right back with Dan.
Are you looking for a precision edge in the market? Something that can stack the odds in your favor? Then look into Larry Pesavento's new trading newsletter, Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind. In each weekly issue, Larry explains what's going to happen in the markets based on the pattern he sees developing and gives you actionable trade ideas based on those patterns. Plus, you'll get his detailed analysis on a variety of markets and sectors, including stocks, treasury bonds, the gold market, oil, the dollar, the forex market, and more. And you'll get the Technical Corner segment, which is a short but powerful weekly training session on trading. You'll get access to all the patterns Larry is seeing in the markets, plus the Astro Harmonics and powerful Bradley stock market model that Larry utilizes for less than $5 a day. An extremely potent combination that will give you just the edge you've been looking for. Try Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind absolutely free for 2 weeks. Go to TFNN.com and click on the free trial link at the top of the page. That's an $85 value, yours free when you register right now. Get Larry's Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind and get the edge you've been looking for.
In just December of last year, the price of gold was down over 10%. In today's highly volatile gold market, you need someone in your corner that understands the complex relationships that exist within the price of gold, as well as within a variety of gold equities. Whether it's the South African gold miners and knowing how the rand-dollar relationship will affect their bottom line, or understanding how John Paulson's $5 billion trade in the GLD can move the market, Tom O'Brien gives you the direction you need to become a better trader each week in his newsletter, The Gold Report. With over 20 individual equities covered and almost another 20 on the potential watch list each week, in addition to covering the XAU, HUI, GLD, and dollar, The Gold Report is a great source for any trader that is looking to be diversified in today's volatile gold market. For your 30-day free trial to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report, log on to TFNN.com today. Don't miss out on this great offer. Act now. David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Let me tell you something, folks. I have people coming up to me saying, I just can't believe the amount of work that Steve does on his newsletter. And I says, I absolutely agree.
That is a recent clip from the Money Masters show that Tom and I do each day at TFNN. My newsletter service, Mastering Probability, is much, much more than a newsletter. Yes, it's outperformed the S&P 500 by 100% during the last 15 months. But more importantly, it's an extraordinary education, a roadmap for your success. And it's yours risk-free for the next 30 days. Just go to the homepage of TFNN.com and click on my name, Steve Rhodes, and then Mastering Probability, because everyone needs a success strategy. For most, it's a competitive edge, the will to win, the drive to overcome any obstacle. Whatever you call it, winners find a way. Find your way to Mastering Probability today, because your journey to extraordinary rewards is just one click away.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
So, do we still have Dan on the phone? Are you there, Dan? Okay. I looked at this during the break here, and it looks to me like the next buy signal would come on test of $19.87 with less than 65 million shares. And what I dislike on this particular stock is this heavy volume day down on the 19th that we had with 92.3 million shares. That generally means we're probably going to, I would say that there's probably a 90% chance you test that $19.87 low out here, and you're going to need that lighter volume. So, you know, could you get it? Yeah. Unfortunately, you're going to have resistance start right back about 21 bucks. So you're not going to have a lot out there. Are you trying to buy it for the dividend or anything?
Not really. It's kind of diversified in a longer term. Sometime next year, I'd buy a couple hundred shares, you know.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's not a horrible stock or anything like that. I just don't see what you need in this thing is probably for it to bounce off about 20 bucks a couple of times with lighter volume before you're going to get through that $21 range. And that's the big problem. You're going to be getting into that day of the 19th out here that had a lot of people selling, and you're going to be bouncing off that for a while. So when you talk about long term, what are you saying, a year or two, or 6 months, or 3 months, or what?
Yeah, it's kind of a swing trade, you know, the daily, weeklies. I see the 200-day is like $20.26.
Yeah, you're probably going to break that, I think. And you know, to me, I always want to see the low broken on lighter volume before I start looking at a stock, regardless of any of the
big gap at 22.
Yeah. So anyway, you know, just I think you've got plenty of time here. I wouldn't be rushing. I'd probably look at this again on Wednesday and see how Monday and maybe about noon this comes in. But I wouldn't be long the stock without a test of $19.87 on lighter volume. So anyway,
all right, thanks.
You bet. Thanks, and have a great day. We got a couple minutes left here, so I want to go through the rest of these stocks. You want to be watching on Monday and Tuesday because they do have more than 50%. Some of these, 100% of their money comes from the government. One that's already kind of blown up here. Another one that would probably be a good choice. You've got a high volume low down at $30.25 on St. Jude Medical's symbol is STJ. This thing came down to $30.25 on November 21st. On huge volume, it's making a nice big ABC. So I think you could probably make a decent bet that this thing wants to come down and test that November 21st low one more time. And if it does go into ABC, you've got a projection of a 1-to-1 of $23.29. Not a bad looking setup, and one of the better ones out here, as it's already shown its weakness. Other stocks out here, Stryker Corporation, of course, they make a lot of those stents, and even with Obamacare, probably these stocks are facing a bunch of headwinds. I think we've already started to see that in stocks that have broken, like Intuitive Surgical, and a lot of these other medical stocks that have broken off the highs. Stryker probably would follow in that camp, even though they're a little different. Stryker makes a lot of the artificial hips and knee replacements and shoulder replacements, that kind of stuff. Pretty good stuff, but they're going to have their margins squeezed by the Obamacare system here fairly soon. This one did give a fairly decent sell signal out here. The last major high, $56.80, 5.6 million shares. You got into it with 3.2 on December 18th, and what do we have? Just kind of... you know, didn't go above it, so I wouldn't have pulled the trigger yet. But it was within a nickel, probably close enough with being short 2.4 million shares. Take a look at these stocks on Monday. Probably going to see some action here real soon. You all have a great and safe and wonderful weekend. We'll see you Monday.